I want to bring in Lipow Oil Associates President Andy Lipow. Andy, first, your reaction to, well, first off to the Energy Secretary saying, oh, just go buy some solar panels. Sure, that's going to fix it. But also the fact that we are seeing gasoline prices going down. The Biden administration's taking credit. Let's remind everybody it's mid-August, and this is when gas prices always start to go down.
Well, I think, first of all, the only really substantive action that the Biden administration took was the release of the Strategic Petroleum Reserves, and I think that contributed about 15 to 20 cents a gallon of the gasoline price decline. Now, I expect as we go into the winter, especially the latter half of September, we could see additional relief at the pump of another 15 cents a gallon as refiners begin making that winter blend and that cheaper gasoline cost is passed through to the consumer. When we look at utilities going forward this winter, especially with the soaring price of natural gas, which has doubled since this time last year, the consumer is going to be paying far more for natural gas this upcoming winter heating season, and that's also going to filter into higher electricity costs as 39% of our electricity is generated from natural gas.
Andy, it's Dagan McDowell. How much, though, of the drop in pump prices is just people using less in this country, a decline in demand? Point blank, what has the Biden administration done to lower prices at the pump?
Well, I think the demand destruction that we're seeing plays a very big part. It seems to me that demand is off 3 to 5% compared to this time last year as the consumer has been changing their habits. The Biden administration releasing the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is really the only concrete action that they've taken, but they've done very little to get more oil and natural gas out of the ground, as much of that production and leasing is now tied up in court decisions.
Now we're more dependent on OPEC than we were under the former administration, Andy, and now the new Secretary General says they are not to blame for high energy prices. They're pointing the finger at lawmakers and the lack of investment in oil and gas. Your take on this, because you kind of mentioned here, we're not producing domestically, but again, OPEC is now in charge.
Well, this is quite disingenuous, as if OPEC Plus is not part of the oil market. The fact is that OPEC Plus has resumed their oil production quotas. They're missing their production targets by 2.8 million barrels a day. When they talk about government policies, one needs to look no further than Nigeria or Iraq, where government policies inhibit investment due to changing legislative landscapes. If we look at Libya, there's political unrest between two competing factions that impacts oil production in that country. And in Angola, simply the investment has deteriorated over the years such that Angola production has fallen substantially.
All right, Liz Peek?
Question. A lot of us are very concerned by and confused by the Biden administration's push for another Iran nuclear deal. Is it because they want Iran's oil to start flowing to the world market? Could that happen, and what would the impact be?
Well, there's probably a number of reasons why the Biden administration wants a deal with Iran, and number one might be to really rein in their nuclear program. But there is no doubt that if sanctions were eased on Iran, that more oil would be flowing to the market. I think that would reduce oil prices by $5 to $7 a barrel. But actually, more importantly, it puts pressure on Russia because we're seeing supply disruptions as the U.S. and the European Union avoid the purchase of Iranian oil. And the Iranian oil that would be released by sanctions would actually make up a lot of the difference into Europe, lowering their prices. And that's where I see a lot of economic damage to the world economy occurring as they're facing natural gas prices that are 10 times that here in the United States.
Well, and Andy, the Russians as well are using Gazprom to further threaten Western Europe and those nat gas lines. So we'll see. Andy Lipow, it's great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.